Beep, boop, bop, beep.
Good.
Oh, there.
Oh my
Hello?
goodness.
Yeah?
That is loud.
You hot? Nobody saw that. And by nobody, I mean everybody. Why am I so loud? I'm so
That is
loud.
I'm like really loud.
Silent,
Oh,
you're good.
now I'm quiet. No, I'm not.
No, you're good. You're
I'm
good.
a little
You're good.
loud.
Did you get a clicker? You guys want a clicker?
Good morning,
We'll give you the slides.
everyone. Yeah, team back.
Wow,
Yeah,
nobody.
There we go.
Wow. All right, announcements. It's me. Sorry, I have the clicker. So I got a new tech guy. I'm messing with him in the back, so we're just going back and forth. You're on.
New or used, paper or hardback, fiction, nonfiction, mystery, faith, short stories, novels, self-help, etc. There's an area in the backpack is 20 books.
Where's our classroom?
There
High
you
school
go.
girls Bible study. Monday, 6 p.m. to 7:30
You guys are
p.m.
having spaghetti dinner this week, right?
What
I think
is
this week they're
stressing
having a
you
spaghetti
out?
dinner. Yes, so the spaghetti dinner for the high school girls Bible study this weekend too. That's so hot. Oh, next. There you go. Sorry, it was me. That was me.
Middle school girls Bible study, 6 to 7:30. 6-week overcomers study. That should be over by now, I think.
Middle school guys, same time, reading Genesis.
All right, that's easy.
All OcYth, movie and spaghetti lunch, April 23rd at 12:30.
Right here.
Right here.
Yeah, pickups at 3 p.m. Not like start 3 p.m., pickups at 3 p.m. So there you go. We'll make spaghetti for you.
Where's the ball? Baseball edition.
This is the game.
All right, so this is the
I was
game.
like,
Yeah, I already put out 2 prizes, so you can just grab those from the table. Sorry, we got new mics this week, so it's like really hard to. I need to like make sure that we're jiving right.
Watermelon.
Let's go. It's the watermelon gummies. I like how people decide which game they're playing based on like.
It's the
The watermelon gummies. I'm playing this week. Let's do this. All right, it's a simple game. It's a simple game. Oh, this one can get really hard because of the different places. So give them the first one. Usually we just have 1 versus 2. Okay, so all you have to do is stand up, and if you think the ball is is number 1, the actual picture and where the ball is, go stand on Brady's side. If you think it's number 2, go stand on Owen's side. Pretty simple. Is it 1 or 2 or not? You don't have to. You don't have to stand up. You can't say I guessed in my head in my seat. That's not how this works.
1's over there. 2's over there.
And none of this middle garbage either, Joy. Pick a side.
Eddie's already going at it. He's like,
Three, two, 1.
it is
It's 2. All number 1s. Please have a seat. Give them the second one. This is going to get harder because there's going to be like a lot more balls added.
Where's the ball?
All right, so very simple. 1 in the middle is 2. 3 is over there. You need to distinctly be in the middle between the chairs. So, yes. 1, 2, or 3. Yep. 1, middle, and if you are behind the soundboard, you're automatically out. So, if you are behind my soundboard, Joy, and we reveal the answers, you are automatically out. So, hold on. 1. Middle is 2. Right here in the middle between the chairs. So if you're 1, go all the way over to 1.
Go to the wall. The wall.
Go to 1.
The wall.
All right. All right. Very simple.
2, 1.
It was
It is
1.
1.
All right, we're going to get more complicated. Let's see how well you follow instructions. Give them the next one.
Where's the
All right,
ball?
so now like we normally do A, B, and C, and D. 1, 2 in the back corner, 3 in the other back corner, 4 up by the cross. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one do you think it is?
Before.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Win it all.
Hold on.
He's going for the win.
Go. We got 2 for the win. He's got number 2
he's
for
ready.
the win. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Is number 2 for the win? Go ahead and claim your prizes. Yeah, just because you lost, it's stupid.
Suddenly, me and you are friends.
She's like, this is stupid because you lost. All right, we'll give you a couple more just so you can see. Praise and worship team, go ahead and head up. What do you guys think? Shout out the answer.
What do you guys think? I think it is.
It is 3. All right, next one.
Bro, it won. Calling it. It's 1.
You can jump in. 3, 2, 1.
I'm telling you it was 1.
You would have been out. It's a Yankee, so it's not in his glove, so that just makes sense. So, yeah, that's why I put this one in there for all my Yankee fans out there. Totally makes sense. He totally aired that ball. It's in my glove.
8. It's got to be 8. What?
That's called a curveball or a sinker. That could have been a sinker.
I don't think we would have had enough room to do all these.
We would have figured it out. Another Yankee where he's just looking at the ball. I go for it. Sorry, I'm not a Yankee fan. For all my Yankee fans.
5. 3. What?
And there you go.
Key tag bingo.
Key tag bingo and praise and worship.
93. 40. 63. 23. 81. 25.
'em. I feel like you definitely said there's going to be no tiebreaker by the end of that. All right, guys, let's stand up and worship together here this morning. hearts open to what you have to say to us here this morning. God, use Dwight to speak to us. We just thank you for everything that you do for us. We thank you for just every week that we get the opportunity to come out here as your people and worship you. God, that we can do it freely and openly, all because of what you've done for us. Go with us throughout this week. In your name, amen.
Amen. All right, Josh, I'm going to come through there a bunch of times, so I'm going to have you, maybe not a bunch of times. I got a little setup to do. I judge you. No, I got to get through here, so don't put that mic in my way. Don't do it! Josh! Ma, the meatloaf! So that's how I feel. Like the new microphone that they gave me, I look like either a trucker or like a teenage video gamer. You go left, I'll go right. Give me some Doritos. Sorry, that's not how all of you look, but you know what I'm talking about, like the big old mic thing. It's just weird. It's weird to me. But they got me a new mic, so I'll use it. I know, it's set up. I got some setup. Settle down. Give me a second. I'm going to climb under the stage. I know it's not so graceful. I'm not in it for the grace. You guys just take a break for a second. Just enjoy life. Ooh, pretty. I know I'm breathing heavy in this mic, and you can hear it. Fat guy. You know. Okay, sweet. Here, we'll put this here for a second. Light up the world. Just went out. All right, cool. All right, good morning. Hi. Hello. Hello. Okay. So, last week was Easter. Thank you. One person knew. Fantastic. We've got one that paid attention. The rest thought it was about bunnies and baseball cards. So, all right. So we did Easter last week, and so this week I like science experiments. Anybody like watch some of those science, like elephants, toothpaste, and stuff like that? I can't do that on stage here because it makes a huge mess. But I love watching that. I love watching all those. I want to talk about the gospel in a science experiment. Yes, can I do that? Hopefully I don't blow things up. We'll find out. But anyway, and the reason why I do this, because first of all, I'm a visual person. I like to see things. I would probably and maybe be doubting Thomas. I don't know. Jesus died. He rose again. He came back. He's like, I'm here. And Thomas is like, unless they see it, I'm not going to believe it. I'm skeptical. I'm a skeptical guy of like, somebody tells me something. I've been working in youth ministry a long time. Usually when you guys tell me something, I go, give it about 5 minutes. Let's see if they really believe what they're saying. Because we're humans. We're broken. We're sinful. We just have this knack of like wanting to do something and then actually doing something is hard. Or somebody actually came to me this week and was telling me something that they talked about in a group that they were in. It's a Christian group, part of their school, Christian Fellowship of Christian Athletes, FCA. And so they're in the group, and one of the things that came out of that discussion was, hey, listen, it's not that I don't believe in God, it's not that I don't want to praise and worship with my hands up, but the problem that youth and what they were saying, what they're struggling with is anything I say, I don't have really great friends because anything I say, I have to think about the like 8 friends they know as well that I tell them. I'm like, wait, tell me more about this. And they're like, seriously, if I tell Billy Sue that Billy Sue, yeah, it's a boy name, girl name, whoever you choose, whichever side of the, anyway, no, we're traditional. If you tell somebody, hey, listen, I did this stupid thing, or I kissed a boy, or one of those things where you share something personal, and you say something to them, you have to immediately think, who are they going to put it on Snapchat? Like, is it going to get out? And so people aren't developing really deep relationships. For us older folk, like bro code was it. Like if you told somebody in the secrecy of bro code and it got out, you first and foremost know who it got out to. And second, you know that if it did get out, you were getting taken behind the woodshed and that wouldn't happen again. That's just how we worked as dudes. Girls, back in the day, probably some, sister code was a thing. And so nowadays, because of Snapchat, social media, you are not developing really deep friends, or you're not telling them the things that are going on inside and sharing the what you should share. Like, hey, I'm struggling with this, and now I need a support system. And so you're not sharing those things because you're afraid as soon as that hits snap, it's gone. Like, it is into the world, and I'm being made fun of. There's all kinds of articles about students that have gone so far as to, like, something got out that they were, like, really, really ashamed of, and they should have had a guy support system or a girl support system or a small group support system. But because of the fear that if it got out and they were so ashamed, they ended up killing themselves. The young kid's name was Wes, and so it was one of those. There's a big story, not here locally, but a big story. It's national news and stuff like that, where you guys aren't developing close relationships because you don't know who you can trust. And so we talked Easter last week. Jesus died on the cross for your sins. There's nothing you can carry. There's no burden that God can't wipe out. We're going to go over that. But I want to show it in a way that some of you may have seen, but hopefully there's a twist in it that maybe you haven't seen it. And so the crazy thing about over the next couple of weeks, I want to talk, you guys got a lot of stress, anxiety, depression. We've covered this a lot of times. I want you to know that there are people that you can talk to, your small group leaders, myself. Hopefully you develop a group of friends you can start talking about that, because we don't want our dirty laundry aired out in the world, right? Nobody wants to, like, we read the Bible and we read David. David would be mortified if he knew that the entire world, and that anytime we relate to, like, sexual sin or, like, real brokenness, we go, let's open to David's story. And he'd probably roll over in his grave and go, please don't tell that story again. I messed up. I killed my best friend. I slept with his wife. Like, some of you guys are like, wait, this is in the Bible? Yeah, the Bible's a really good book if you want some juicy gossip. But it's a model for us to live our lives. And so there's this fun science experiment that's going to talk a little bit about salvation, what we talked about in Easter, and now more so what's going on inside of us. Does that make sense? So the science experiment's pretty easy. Some of you may have seen it. Oh, I've seen this before. Ah. Okay, you probably have seen it before. I stole these from my wife. Sin. I get it. Whatever. Now it's on the internet. Sorry, dear. So she knows it. I'm going to do this. Anybody that can read that? Waynesboro Education, what does that say? Ah, yes, it has paid off. That was Smithsburg that was like, "Rrr." I'm just kidding. I'm joking. Settle down. That was the homeschoolers. I'm just. All right, so we got that. We got this. And we got this. All right, so here's the cool thing about life. You, we were made in the image of God, in the likeness of God. When you hold it out, you go, man, these two, you got water, it's the same. And so in our lives, we should reflect God. We should be pure and holy. Unfortunately, this thing called sin enters the world. This brokenness, this yuckiness, this dirtiness enters the world. And so what ends up happening is we'll give you the picture. So we were designed, God said, I am perfect. I am pure, I'm clear, so let this represent God. Bloop, 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 bloop. Make the hurricane. You guys do that in science? No? The tornado? No? Okay. So some people are cool, some people are not. So you've got Jesus who says, man, I'm beautiful, I'm pure, I'm holy. You guys were designed good, pure, holy. We talk about that weekend. You have a design, a passion, a desire. God created you beautiful, wonderful with those desires. And then all of a sudden you have us who on the outside are designed pure. And so some of you guys even think, maybe you've heard this from some people. Hey, I'm a Christian. I'm a good person. You guys heard that phrase? Maybe you've said it. Listen, I'm a good person. I don't say mean things. I don't say bad things. I'm a good person, and therefore God should love me. I should be in heaven. And so here's the crazy thing about God, and here's the twist on this experiment. Here's the crazy part about God. Let me bring my light back. And so, turn it on. Andrew, can you black out the light? See, the cool part about God is if you hold it up, he's still pure and holy. no blemish. You can still see them clear. The problem is some people are like, I'm good, I'm wonderful, I'm super, God should love me because I haven't murdered anybody, I haven't hurt anybody, I haven't done those. The problem with that mindset is God, when held up to the light, you and I, when held up to the light, you can see that there's stuff that is going on inside of us. On the outside, we're clean. We're like, oh man, that's just like God. You can see through it. But when held up to the light of the gospel of Christ, God sees what's going on the inside, and it's not totally pure and holy. Can you guys see that? It's got some dirt in there. Just because life is going good for you doesn't mean that God doesn't see those little things, that little lie you told, that little cheat that you told, those things. And so you may think you're great. Hurricane. Sorry, that's always the fun part. But on the inside, a lot of turmoil's going on. A lot of ugliness. Maybe it's those things that you're doing in private, in secret. Go ahead, Andrew, flip me my light back on real quick. Maybe it's those things that you're doing in secret that nobody sees. And so to the world, you're like, man, they got it all together. They're holy. They go to church. They show up. They sing the songs. Or at least they mouth them in the back row, whatever. They're doing what they're supposed to. To the world, you look clean. Well, I mean, obviously there's oxygen in there because I just poured it out. But for the most part, you're pretty good, right? You reflect God. But when held up to the light of Christ, something's not right. And then we add on top of that sin. I love that part. It's still my favorite. So we add sin. And so these are the things that we can see that we're doing. You said something bad about somebody, something mean. Well, I mean, kind of. That got rid of it if you hold it away from the light, but if you put it down, you go, oh, that's a little tainted. That's way up here, maybe not so much. Down here, ooh, that's not doing so good. And then maybe it's cheating on the test, yelling at mom and dad, not honoring God with your actions. Now we start living a life, and everybody can see it. Hey, listen, you're not living close to Christ. So not only is it not good here, but now even the things the things that were inside that we were holding on to, those frustrations, those sins that the world couldn't see, now all of a sudden we're starting to act out on. Maybe it was, and I'll use the example, maybe it was the pornography I was looking online. Nobody could see it except for you and God. Now you're starting to act on it in your dating relationships. And so now we can see the struggles we're doing. See, the problem is a lot of our sin happens in the dark at first, and we're like, hey, listen, nobody saw that. Or maybe it was a comment on Snap that disappeared, and then all of a sudden you just don't care anymore. See, that's how sin works. It continues to grow until it clouds our lives and it starts frustrating those around you and frustrating your relationships, frustrating your heart. It works with stress that leads to anxiety, which leads to worry, which leads to depression. Usually we don't see it on the surface at first, but if you hold it up to God's light, it's starting to magnify and grow. And now all of a sudden, when we hold up to the light, we can't even see the things on the inside because it's so reflective on the outside. We're taking actions on them. And the cool part about this is, light, stay here for a second. We have this really great thing called the gospel. Jesus, our perfect sacrifice. We talked about this last weekend. I don't know if it hit home for some of you guys last week because we do it so often. We talk about Jesus died on the cross, saved you from your sins, and sometimes that it gets lost in how many times we say it. But maybe if you saw it, Jesus lived a perfect life. He went through all the trials and challenges. He was beaten and scorned and still didn't sin. 33 years on this earth, still managed to get through every single day. I struggled to get through one day with trying not to sin. Jesus nailed it for 33 years. Still perfect, still holy, if I hold it up to the light, clear as can be. And he said, because of that, because the requirement of sin is death. We talked about when we talked about Revelation. The requirement of this dirty life is death. That is the paid price for what we do. Just one. Jesus did it perfectly, and he's like, listen, Because I did that, God required a sacrifice of perfect lamb. And Jesus did that. And so he said, listen, I want to take your sin and I want to make it mine. And there must not have been enough bleach in there. So that should have disappeared. Oh, man, I ruined that. Did I mix up my bleach waters? Anyway. So, should have been more bleach. If you add bleach in there, it disappears, and that becomes crystal clear. And then what ends up happening, I did this with the teens or the kids last week. Somebody get me bleach quick. Go, 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 go. Man, I'm so sad. Like I did it this week. I must not have added enough bleach. So what will end up happening with enough bleach is this will totally disappear and it'll become crystal clear. God will take away those sins. And I know I'll do it next week just to show you that I don't make it. So bleach will wash away the iodine that's in here, and it'll make it crystal clear. He took that upon him. And he washed away the sin. He took yours and I's sin on the cross. And then what he ended up doing is when it is crystal clear, he not only takes it away from you, he pours it back into you perfectly clean. And I know it's not, and please, the devil wants to get at me right now, and I don't care. He's not going to get at me. Somebody get me bleach. No, I'm just kidding. I'll do it in your room. I'll take it in your room. But a little bit of bleach to iodine, it'll wash it absolutely, completely clear. And then he wants to pour it back into your life. He wants to take that sin away from you. He wants to take the brokenness away from you, and he wants to pour it back. And you know what the crazy part is when the experiment works. When it works, this will end up, give me it blacked out. Let's see if it works. This part does work. Boy, I wish it was even better. I'm going to put this in there, then I'll shock myself. But when you do it crystal clear, there is no longer the sin on the inside. That will actually go completely crystal clear. There will be no inside sin. Go ahead and turn it back on. Sorry, I guess I didn't put enough bleach in there. I feel bad. I'm sorry. But what ends up happening is your life ends up crystal clear because of what Jesus did. There's no longer that sin. We should start giving over those things of this world that nobody else sees. We start living for Christ in a manner that shows love to other people and ourselves. Because God said, hey, listen, I designed you perfectly like me. I designed you perfectly like the way I designed you. And those sins that you're doing, you start finding people like mentors and small group leaders to say, hey, listen, I'm struggling with these things. Hopefully you'll start finding a friend group that you can actually talk to and say those things that should never see the light of day so that they can help you work through them. It's one of the biggest struggles that you guys have right now is the fact that you don't know who to trust with the things that are hard and normal in life. Jesus is a good start, but you have to open up your Bible. You have to open up the scripture and say, hey, listen, God, I want to know more about who you are and who you are. The light that in which it's being shown through me, the light that's being shown through me, I want to be able to see who you are and how you work and how you're designed because I want to be that light to other people. And then I can tell other people, hey, again, I really wish this would work because it worked all weekend. I went to 3 different Bible release times and did this, so I'm kind of totally bummed. It has to be just the right amount of bleach. But ultimately, what ends up happening is you live a life that's crystal clear. You start living a life that honors God. You start living a life that makes you happy because God designed you perfect with Him. He designed you in His image. He designed you in a way that we're supposed to live a happy life. We're supposed to live that. Sin is what's breaking that. We blame a lot of our unhappiness on the things of this earth. It's because of sin, and God took those away. Again, imagine crystal clear. God took those away for those who believe in Him, and that's what we celebrated last week on the cross. And because sin still exists in this world, I desperately pray that you find people that you can trust with those big things, because one of the biggest problems, the reason why I truly believe that stress, anxiety, and depression, the reason why I believe that it is so rampant in the world today is because we can't talk about things anymore. We can't have good debate. We can't share our faith. We can't share the struggles that we're having. And so we keep it inside and it festers. And then we start to worry, oh, what if they find out this about me? And so we don't tell anybody anything else. And then it festers and it festers and it festers. And what ends up happening is we just lose it. We break. And Jesus says the starting point is ultimately me. Find out who you are and how you were created. I died on the cross. I loved you. I took those sins away from you. You can't hide from me. Jesus is everywhere. Jesus is in us, through us, and hopefully he lives in you for those of us that made a decision to follow Jesus. He loves you. He wants to be part of it. He can see the muck, the grossness that goes on inside that nobody else gets to see. He wants to take that away. He wants to give you peace. And ultimately, it's for you to make that decision, and then you to be the friend in which you hope somebody else will be. If somebody comes to you burdened and broken, the responsibility starts with you first. You make a decision to follow Jesus. You follow after him. You know who he is. You grow closer to him. And then you get to have relationships and model that in relationships so that when they say, hey, listen, I'm really struggling with, and there's a million things that you guys can struggle with right now, like with online problems, sexuality, anger issues, frustrations, past abuses, like all of those things you guys can struggle with are just, she said something mean to me. Like, yeah. That happens. This is a sinful world. And you should have those friends that you can come through and talk through how to deal with it. Or just, you ever have those friend sessions? I hope all of you had at least one of these friend sessions where you show up and that person just needs to dump on you their world, but you don't need to say anything back. You ever had one of those where somebody's just had a bad day and you're like, all right, just lay it on me. You're not going to tell anybody else about it. You grab a bag of Doritos, and then afterwards you play video games for hours. You're just like, all right, hit me with the problem, and then let's go play baseball, or let's go dance, or let's go listen to music. Or have you ever had those sessions? Some of you guys are shaking your heads no. That's like, to me, I want you to have that. I want you to have those friends where you can just dump and then go do something. All you had to do is sit and listen. How many people really like to listen? Where are my listeners? I love to sit and listen. I'm not going to tell you anything. Where are my talkers? Don't know how to shut up. I'm just kidding. So this is going to be hard for some of you guys to like go, listen, I'm here for you and I'm vibrating because I want to talk to you, but I want to hear about your bad day. If you ever get married, no joke, if you ever get married, like this is one of the hardest lessons you're going to learn in marriage is to just shut up and listen, especially us guys. Like, we might not even care what they're saying. We're just like, I must drink this now because I want to talk. And sorry, that's for the adults in the back. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? You're just like, one day, you guys are going to get I want you to have relationships. And I'll do this experiment again next week just to show you it works. Sorry that it didn't. You have to put just the right amount of bleach in it, and it goes crystal clear, and it takes away even the cloudiness of the you. There's nothing in there. And so the great part about that is it just represents the fact that when you make a decision for Jesus, he takes that away from you. He loves you. He wants to have a relationship with you. And then he wants you guys to have a relationship with other people. Like a real relationship that models him, where you listen and you talk and you share and you work through life together, whether it's with mom and dad. I know some of you guys are like, oh, but I don't like that one right now. Whether it's with mom and dad, because you get to learn how to have a good relationship. They're actually smarter than you think. You just won't realize that until like 20. So just don't worry about it right now. But they are pretty smart, most of them. Like some of you are laughing, you're like, not mine. They'll get there. When you want to like buy a car and have insurance, suddenly they're smart. They're like, wait, they know how to do that? Relationships, they're pretty smart because they've been through a couple. My hope is you have a relationship with Jesus first, and then you surround yourself with people that will listen, that let you let out some of that struggles that you're having, and hold you accountable. They're not judging you. They're not trying to be mean to you. They're not trying to be rude to you. They're just saying, hey, listen, that little thing that's in your life that you're keeping on the inside, eventually it's going to be on the outside and it's going to be a lot uglier. I use pornography because usually that's one of those things that start in the quiet. Or maybe it's envy and jealousy. Maybe it's anger. And so all of a sudden it starts in the quiet of your own mind. mind and your own heart, and you struggle with it for a while, and then eventually you let it out by punching somebody in the face or things like that. And then all of a sudden now that ugliness that was on the inside is now on the outside, and you can't sometimes take it back, and it takes a lot of work to get it. I'm making circles here, but I just want you guys to understand it starts with Jesus, and he can take away your sins. He can take away your brokenness. But now you have to start walking with him. You have to get to know him. You have to hear his word. You have to open his word. Like I asked the other day, just a couple of teenagers, because I was having fun, and they saw me at Walmart, which was really weird. And they're like, "You're Dwight, the author." And I asked them, we got in a really good conversation, and it came up about me being a youth pastor. And I said, "Hey, do me a favor. Name the first 5 books of the Bible." And all 5 of them froze. Like, what's the names of the Bixby Timmons books so far? Nailed them. They were ready to go because they wanted to know if I would tell them the name of book 3. I said, I'll tell you the name of book 3 if somebody here can name me the first 5 books of the Bible. None of them could do it. Can you? How close are you walking with Jesus? How much do you know him? Well, it's in the first 5 books of the Bible. Why is it there? I know some of you guys are freaking out right now going, I don't know. That's okay. I'm not here to judge you, but it is are you working with Jesus? Are you growing closer to him? Are you getting to know his word? It's there not as it's a love letter. Can you imagine? Like, it's a love letter to you guys. Those books are, hey, do you want to get through life a little bit easier and better? I know it's sinful. I know it's broken. It's a love letter. Can you name the 5 books of wisdom? And right in the middle, there's these great books of wisdom. If you read them, there's this great one. If you start dating, it's called Song of Solomon. It's all about like love relationships. So if you want to read love letters from the Bible, real steamy too. It's like 50 Shades of Grey, but not quite as creepy. Anyway, but you know what I'm talking about? Like, it's a love letter on how to live life, and it's all there. Starts with Jesus. Again, this is that circle, and I know I'm boring some of you guys, but some of you guys are like, tell me the answers. I want to know. I want to be washed clean. I want the darkness that's inside of me that only Jesus can see. I want to let that out. I want to talk to friends about things that hurt so that they can walk alongside of me. I want mentors. I want people. I just want it to go away. The craziness of the world, I just want it to go away. It starts with Jesus, and he'll wash you clean. And once he gets inside, start making friends who have made that same decision, because once they're clean and you're clean and all of a sudden you're living for Jesus, sometimes you're going to make mistakes. You're going to say, I'm sorry. You're going to say those things. And then all of a sudden you're going to live life together, and you're going to have good relationships and good conversations, and life will go better, and it'll go so much more wonderful because you start getting into your word and you start going, wait, that's how you do that part of life? We figured it out. Hey, I figured it out. And you start talking to each other. I pray that you all have those relationships. If you don't, it means you're living in a broken world, and I encourage you to give yourself to Jesus and find other people who have, and start living like the world around you so that you don't have to worry about if it's going to end up in Snap. You know, the crazy thing is you don't have to worry about it ending up on Snap if it's not something that should have been on Snap. There's nothing in my life right now that I'm doing that I would be afraid that it would end up on the internet. Now, there's occasionally that I hit my thumb with a hammer, and that would probably get played on a loop on every youth event because there will be foul language out the wazoo. It'll be crazy. But there's nothing that I do that I wouldn't want or be okay with getting out on the internet. Now, maybe some of the conversations you and I have, the deep ones, that I'd be like, hey, push pause on the live stream because you're sharing something with me. But there's nothing in my life that I'm worried about, even the frustrations I have. Yeah, a lot of times I talk to my guy friends about kids and wives and bad days. Same thing you guys talk about. But there's nothing I wouldn't share with these guys that they wouldn't help walk me through. I hope you guys have those relationships, and it starts with what Jesus did on the cross and what we celebrated last week. Make sense? I don't want to be a dead horse anymore. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for these teens. I know they're struggling right now. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to talk a little bit about stress, anxiety, depression. We're going to talk about the ABCs of the gospel and what it means to have Jesus wash us clean. We're going to talk about getting to the heart of those little turmoils that only you see in our lives. We're going to chase after the hearts of each one of these students. And I pray that over the next couple of weeks and into the graduation Sunday we got coming up here pretty soon, that these teens will start to see that these are a lot of the same struggles we've been generation after generation has been struggling with. And there's a way through them, and there's a way through them successfully, and there's a way through them after chasing after your own heart. And so, Jesus, I pray that each one of these students realizes that they're loved. We ask this in your name. And all God's people says,